Leave some comments below. Where did you find your Volkswagen? How much did you pay for it? What year was it? What type was it? What have you done to it? You know, how much money did you spend on it? Were you happy with it? Do you still have it? Are you going to get another one? Let us know. You know, you don't have to give us your full name or address or social security number or anything, but you know, let us know. Let us know what you've worked on. Let us know what projects you've got coming up or what you want. You know, what have you been dreaming about? What have you always wanted? And how are you going to get there? Alright guys, this is just a test blog. I'm not holding camera. The camera's on my dash. I'm not distracted by it. I'm watching where I'm going. The camera is down here. It's not even in my view really. So I just want you to know that it's not a hazard to me or anyone else. And honestly, I do this without the camera on. I've always talked. I don't know. I think a lot of people do this actually. I think people talk to themselves when they're driving. It's kind of like when you sing in the shower. It's the same thing. When you have a long commute like I do, it takes me usually about an hour to get home and an hour to get to work. Usually during that time, I talk to myself. You know, I'll have all kinds of ideas running through my head and I'll talk about it. Sometimes what I'm talking about is just nonsense and it ends up just, you know, just whatever. Anyway, I was just talking about, and I was like, you know what? This would actually make a good vlog. So here it is. Here's my first Volkswagen vlog. I'm not sure how good the quality is going to be. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So, I was talking about finding and buying your first air-cooled Volkswagen or your first old vintage truck or car, you know, something that you want to work on, something that you want to go find, bring home and see if you can get it running. Bring it back to life. Similar to Rusty and the 914 and my 72 F250. You know, there is something in us. And if you're watching this, it's probably in you, where there's a thrill, there's an adventure, there's excitement about finding something that's been sitting for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. Maybe it's been sitting in somebody's garage or been sitting in somebody's backyard, or maybe it's been sitting in a salvage yard. Maybe it's been sitting out in the woods in somebody's property for the last 30 years. Rusty, as far as I can tell, has been sitting outside in the weather since 1980, I think it's what it was. So like 40 years. And you can tell he's rusty because of it. But basically what I was thinking was, you know, the different levels of condition of the vehicles and how long they've been sitting and what year they are and the cost and the range and how I find them, you know. And so I thought it would make a good vlog to talk about, and other people could share their stories below about the cars that they found and how they found them, how much they paid, stuff like that. If you guys want to share that information, leave comments below and interact with each other, and you know, let's keep the story going. But I started thinking about buying my first Volkswagen, my first air-cooled Volkswagen. I probably started thinking about it about 10 years ago. And there may, you know, sometimes you don't really remember or recall why you've been influenced by somebody. You know, why did I want to get an old Volkswagen and fix it up? I'm not sure. I don't really remember. I've always liked them. I know my brother had a couple, and he had an old Ghia that was really cool, and I've had friends that have had old Volkswagens over the years and stuff, and I've wanted one. So, you know, I started looking years ago, and it just wasn't financially feasible for me for a while, just because, you know, I had other things going on in my life that I would rather spend money on, like taking care of the family and paying the bills. And my hobby for a long time, and still is music. You know, I'm in a band, and you know, I would rather spend money on a guitar or a pedal or an amp or a microphone or something to do with the band, you know, versus spending it on an old car. But a few years ago, the project that I was in, we took a break, and we'd been together for a few years and had some fun and wrote some cool songs. But we took a break, and during that break, I was looking for something to do, and I started watching, you know, even before the band broke up, I started watching Musty One, VW Darren, and there's some other guys that I would watch on YouTube. And usually I'd watch them when I got home from work at night. You know, I'd sit around after dinner, maybe have a beer and just chill out and watch these guys. And I'm not exactly sure how I found them. Obviously, I was probably looking for, you know, searching Volkswagen stuff, and ended up on the Samba. The Samba is a great site for everything air cooled. It's just awesome. If you haven't gone to the Samba, go to the Samba and check it out. I mean, it's amazing. That's where I first found Wolfsburg West. I mean, this is years ago. I remember ordering my first Wolfsburg West video catalog probably 10 years ago, maybe 8-10 years ago, and I got it in the mail, and I just remember being like, wow, this is a classy, nice, really nice detailed catalog. But anyway, I just remember, you know, finding Musty One and VW Darren and some other guys on YouTube and watching their videos on how to fix the engines and stuff like that, and it really was inspiring. I mean, I got inspired to do it, and I wanted to do what they were doing. So, you know, I started really focusing on it, like, how can I get my first Volkswagen? And so, you know, I started focusing on that, and I ended up buying a 1967 Volkswagen Karma Ghia. I found it on Craigslist. The guy was asking $1,200. I called him up and talked to him on the phone, and he said basically it looks like it's been sitting in a lake for the last 30 years. So he was honest. He said it was rusty and needed some work, and I was like, you know what? What's the best you can do? And he immediately went from 1,200 to 700, I think. And I think we ended up settling on 600. And he was about 3 hours from here, down in South Florida. So my brother Joe and I, about a week later, the next weekend, went down there, rented a trailer from U-Haul, and brought it home. And that was my first air-cooled Volkswagen. I was so excited to have that car. There's videos on YouTube. If you go and look on my channel, you'll see the videos that I made bringing that car home and doing some work on it. It was a little more than I could handle, to be honest, but you know what? It's okay, because I learned some stuff just pulling the engine out and messing around with it. I learned some stuff, and that engine was completely seized, so that led me to start looking for an engine. And I ended up finding another car just by accident. My wife and I would go to the antique shops on the weekend, and I would drive by this field on the way to one of the antique shops, and I looked over and I could see this green Carnegie over there. And so there was this old sign on the fence. It was an old piece of property, you know, with a bunch of junk on it and a bunch of other cars and stuff. And I ended up calling the phone number on the fence and got a hold of the guy and ended up buying that one for $700, I think. And there's videos on that one too. That's the 72 Ghia, the green one. So now I've got two Ghias. I've got two Volkswagen Ghias sitting at my house, and I'm messing around with them and I'm doing stuff with them, and I'm just kind of starting to, you know, figure out what I can do and what tools I have and where I need to go with it. And you know, I started working on the engine from the 72. It was a good running engine, but I decided I wanted to rebuild it and get that experience, you know, rebuilding it and making it new again. And sorry guys, I'm driving, so the, you know, the light, obviously I can see, I'm just looking here real quick here, and I see that the sunlight is glaring, but this is basically, you know, a video to listen to. You don't necessarily have to watch it, but if you guys are interested in it, I can do more of these videos. I enjoy talking to myself, but if I can record it and share it with you guys, and we can get some commentary going back and forth, hey, that's awesome. So anyway, I just had this idea. I was just thinking, you know, some guys ask, how much did you pay for Rusty, and where did you find him, and how did you find him, and how can I get one? And, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that were just like me 10 years ago. Not even 10 years ago, but I started about 10 years ago looking. But even just up until a few years ago, I really didn't have a lot of tools. You know, I'm slowly starting to build my tools up. I still have so much to learn and so much to figure out. But that's the whole. I mean, the journey is fun. Is the experience. That's the, you know, that's what really is exciting to me. Is just every day figuring something out, learning something new, and like, how am I going to do this? And, you know, reaching out to people and making contacts with guys that have been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years, and they know how to do stuff, and figure out, okay, well, maybe I should send my carburetor and distributor and fuel pump to Ed Fall because he's been doing it for 20 years and he has the equipment, you know, and he knows how to do it properly and do it right. Will I do, maybe on the next one, I'll try and tackle the fuel pump or the carburetor. But on this one, you know, there's just so much going on, so many different parts and pieces. I don't think it's a bad idea to reach out to people that are experienced and have the knowledge, and work with them, you know. Some things are just going to be out of your hands or over your head, or just too, you know, too costly to invest in the tools. You have to think about that. So do you really want to invest in all of these tools that are going to cost hundreds if not thousands of dollars when you can just have somebody else do it that does it every day, that knows how to do it and do it properly for a few $100s? You know what I'm saying? You have to think about these things, and you have to think about how much you're willing to invest. You know, you just bought, let's just say you buy an old Bug, you know, an old 1960s Bug, and you find one for $3,000, and it's in decent shape, but maybe the brakes need to be replaced, maybe the headliner needs to be replaced, maybe it needs a paint job, you know, maybe it has some dents. Do you want it to be perfect? Well, if you want it to be perfect, like showroom quality, it's going to cost a lot of money. But if you just want to get it up and running and have some fun with it, you know, you can do that fairly cheap. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is there's a lot of different ways, there's a lot of different levels, I guess. You know, there's your entry level, and then there's your concourse, high quality, expensive, you know, Christopher Loan restoration versus your CT restoration. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm, you know, eventually I'll become, hopefully, more experienced and knowledgeable and efficient, and I hopefully over time, in the next couple of years, I'll be more confident on the next build and the next build and the next build, and I can start producing some high quality builds like some of these other guys that have been doing it for 10-20 years. So that's the goal for me. That's one of the goals for me, is to just continue my knowledge, to continue to gain experience and meet people and share it with everybody. And you know, if you're thinking about getting an old Volkswagen, figure out if you want a bug or you want a bus or you want a Gia, you want a square back or fastback or whatever you want. Figure it out, find one. Most of the time you're going to want all of them. Eventually it's kind of like, I want one of those, I want one of those, I want those. And it just keeps going and going. So that's how I am anyway. I just want to I want them all, but can't have them all, I guess. But anyway, guys, this has been going on for a while. I could probably keep going, but I don't want to bore you to death. I mean, there's probably some of you guys that probably already clicked off. And anyway, leave some comments below. Where did you find your Volkswagen? How much did you pay for it? What year was it? What type was it? What have you done to it? You know, how much money did you spend on it? Were you happy with it? Do you still have it? Are you going to get another one? Let us know. You know, you don't have to give us your full name or address or social security number or anything, but you know, let us know. Let us know what you've worked on. Let us know what projects you've got coming up, or what you want. You know, what have you been dreaming about? What have you always wanted? And how are you going to get there? So anyway, guys, I'll talk to you soon. See you on the next one. Later.